The headlines for this hour on VTV News. National Assembly start Q&A session. And efforts to control fire in Bình Định province. In world news, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi confident of election victory.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 3 p.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. The 15th National Assembly commenced the Q&A session in Hanoi on June 4th per agenda on its ongoing 7 sessions. In his opening remarks, National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn made clear that the 4 issue groups for questioning and answering fall under the responsibility of the Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, the Minister of Industry and Trade, the Minister of Culture, Sport and Tourism, and the Auditor General of the State Audit Office of Vietnam. Deputies should only engage in exchanges on these matters if they deem it necessary to avoid duplicating questions, recommended the top legislator. National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn believes the Q&A session will have many proposals, recommendations, and advice for the government and ministers in directing and operating, overcoming limitations, difficulties, and obstacles, and meeting the public expectations. The first Q&A session of the National Assembly focused on natural resources and the environment. The deputy expressed significant concerns over issues such as use of mineral resources for construction materials, saltwater intrusions, landslide, and water pollution. More to follow.
Topics such as sourcing materials for particularly important projects and the legislation of special mechanisms for mineral exploitation were among the heated issues.
The National Assembly has approved a special mechanism to address difficulties in mineral exploitation for key transport projects. How is it being converted into legal documents?
As the drafting agency, the Ministry has submitted the draft law on geology and minerals to the National Assembly. The law specifies 4 groups of minerals: precious metals, high-grade and deep-processed construction materials, common construction materials, and soil and gravel. The 3rd and 4th groups will be fully authorized to localities, so they must only register for mine use and pay tax accordingly.
There has been a lack of river minerals for key transportation projects. What is the Minister's solutions to ensure adequate construction materials while still limiting damage to the environment?
Our country has many seas, and that resource has been used in many projects, especially coastal ones. It's best to take advantage of seas with high salinity levels without causing saline intrusion into surrounding areas. The Ministry's management unit will also establish standards and guidelines for material allocation.
Recently, waste discharge and environmental pollution have heavily impacted many water flows. Therefore, National Assembly deputies requested the minister propose specific measures to address this issue and prevent coastal and riverbank subsidence and erosion.
What is the Ministry's plan in the coming time to revive dead rivers due to heavy pollution?
The localities need to collaborate to treat wastewater. The Deputy Prime Minister has assigned the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to set up pumping stations to ensure continuous water flow into rivers. When the law on water resources comes into effect, the Ministry will propose the establishment of a River Basin Management Committee.
What is your assessment of the forecasts and prevention works regarding landslides to ensure stable lives in the Mekong Delta region?
Every locality has its own planning and needs to relocate residential areas out of areas prone to landslides, especially high-risk areas. The encroachment of riverbeds is one of the main causes of landslides, which needs to be addressed.
Some deputies also suggested that the minister provide solutions for reviewing, upgrading, and repairing over 1,000 damaged and degraded water reservoirs.
In the first 5 months of the year, the export turnover of agriculture, forestry, and fishery products increased by more than 20%, reaching over $24 billion. This is an impressive figure as it shows the growth of most key industries. The average export price of many agricultural products increased from 20 to 50% compared to the same period last year. Typically, black pepper has an average export price of $4,308 per ton, an increase of nearly 40%. Coffee has an average export price of $3,480 per ton, an increase of nearly 50%. Rubber price reached $1,504 per ton, an increase of 8.8%, and 5% broken rice price average of $638 per ton, an increase of 20.5%. Vietnamese agricultural products are of good quality. However, if marketing is ineffective, increasing export value will be difficult. According to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, many Vietnamese agricultural products are highly competitive internationally, but how they stand out is worth discussing and needs to be changed soon.
According to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, the export market's distribution system is diverse, including supermarkets, agricultural markets, grocery stores, and e-commerce. Vietnamese agricultural products suit international consumers' tastes, but are not prominent on the shelves. This results from individual trade promotion activities that do not represent the national brand.
The coordination between associations, states, enterprises, and representative agencies has not been effective. Large fairs that need a national profile are being treated individually and lack coordination.
The coordination between Ministries of Agriculture, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Ministry of Industry and Trade needs to be more effective. Trade promotion to put Vietnamese agricultural product to a supermarket is vital. In the future, the three ministries will coordinate more closely to deeply understand the market needs.
Proposals to facilitate the consumption of exported agricultural products include promoting trade, optimizing specialized logistics models, and applying new technologies to help prolong fruit shelf life.
Surging export prices have led to higher purchase prices for domestic agricultural products. Global demand for Vietnamese agricultural product is expected to continue rising. This presents numerous opportunities and challenges for farmers and businesses in meeting increasingly stringent requirements.
Pepper prices set a new record high on Monday in key pepper growing regions nationwide. An increase of 20 to 50 cents per kilogram was recorded. This is the highest daily rise in many years, pushing purchase prices of pepper to $5.4 to $5.6 per kilo. In addition, rice and coffee have also seen a price surge since the beginning of the year. These are mainly due to potential global supply shortages.
Adverse weather has reduced the supply of coffee and cocoa by 10% or more. Agricultural products are seasonal, so it's hard to boost supply immediately. Therefore, even without further increases, I believe agricultural prices will remain high until the end of the second quarter.
Although production has decreased, export value has increased, indicating a shift from quantity to quality. In the past 5 months, coffee exports totaled 833,000 tons. This is a 3.9% decrease in volume, but a 44% increase in value. According to experts, Vietnam has an export advantage in the second half of the year. Improving quality is a key to capitalizing on this advantage.
Some limitations exist for Vietnamese fruit and vegetables, such as product quality and monitoring of cultivation, processing, and preservation quality, and compliance with regulation of importing countries, all aim to boost product quality.
I believe there will be more Vietnamese products, especially agricultural ones, in the American markets in the coming time.
According to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, Vietnam will continue negotiating, signing, and upgrading of free trade agreements to take advantage of tariff incentives. This aims to create competitive advantages and encourage businesses to diversify products and supply chains.
The Vietnam Food Association has recently proposed reintroducing floor prices for rice exports. This measure aims to prevent businesses from engaging in unfair price competitions and to maintain the value of Vietnamese rice. This strategy was implemented about 10 years ago. Currently, the questions of whether to reinstate the floor price is eliciting different responses from rice export businesses.
5,000 tons of rice are exported to Singapore each month. This order is particularly valuable for the business, with a price of $638 per ton for 5% broken rice. Consequently, excessively low export prices can negatively impact the bidding process for businesses and the rice industry as a whole.
We apply the floor price to maintain the value of Vietnamese rice grains. The industry will benefit and especially farmers will have better income.
However, some businesses oppose the reintroduction of export floor prices to address the issue of selling rice at low prices. They argue that the previous implementation was unsuccessful and, to some extent, hindered and reduced their opportunities to export rice.
Applying floor prices means businesses are no longer autonomous while the market fluctuates up and down. How can floor prices keep up with reality?
We should carefully consider the application of floor prices, given that associations and legal regulations can also be utilized as price controls.
In response to the Vietnam Food Association's proposal, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development will collaborate with the Ministry of Industry and Trade to develop the most optimal solutions. According to businesses, applying floor prices is a short-term measure. A more sustainable and long-term approach involves managing rice exports flexibly in response to market fluctuations while ensuring efficiency and benefiting the entire industry.
And before moving on to some other news, let's take a look at foreign exchange rate for today, June the 4th. Coming up next on VTV News, efforts to control fire in Bình Định province. And Hanoi addresses fire safety issues in rental houses and mini apartments. The forest fire in Chop Vung Mountains and Sơn Thu Village, First Sơn Commune, Tuy Phước District, Bình Định Province, was temporarily extinguished early Tuesday morning, according to a report from the Provincial Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. On Monday night, hundreds of soldiers and civilians in Bình Định Province were trying to extinguish the forest fire. The authorities are continuing to monitor some locations in case if they reignite. The extent of the damage is still being assessed. The cause is dry, hot weather. The damaged area is eucalyptus forest, which easily catches fire, so the flames quickly spread. The locations of the fire is on high mountains, difficult to access. The burned forest area is planted by households and a forest planting company. Ho Chi Minh City will strictly handle fire prevention and rescue violations in crowded boarding houses and multi-apartment houses. The city leaders assigned the Departments of Constructions, People's Committees of District, Thủ Đức City, and related units to strictly complying with regulations in the appraisals and issuance of construction permits and strictly control the conditions for granting construction permits for multi-apartment houses. In Ho Chi Minh City, in the past 5 months, there have been more than 230 fire incidents, killing 10 people. More than half of the fires occur in residential houses and houses combined with businesses. Hanoi has established over 900 task forces to inspect fire safety measures in rental houses and mini apartments. Inspections in the Gozay district alone revealed over 2,800 establishments that do not meet escape route requirements. Inspection efforts are also being urgently conducted in other districts across the capital. The following story recorded in the inspection activities of Dong Da District Fire and Rescue Police Force on Monday afternoon.
There are dozens of high-rise rental houses and mini apartments situated deep within the narrow alleys of Lang Thượng Ward. This homeowner created an escape route in the outer wall, but she couldn't remember which key opened the lock. This landlord installed a smoke-proof door, but the stairwell is used to store gas cylinders. The windows in the rental units lack emergency exits and escape ladders.
I follow whatever is required. It must be important, right?
He claims it is important, but has yet to rectify any of the issues flagged up by the authorities last year. However, some landlords comply strictly with fire safety regulations. The ground floor parking space in this rental area is fully equipped with an automatic fire suppression system. Besides the escape route on the roof, each room has an emergency exit with escape ladders readily available.
Whether the hefty cost is worth it or not, I'm doing this to ensure the safety of my family's life and those staying in my house.
After the tragic fire in Khương Hạ Ward, Thanh Xuân District last year, which resulted in 56 deaths, fire safety inspections have been tightened.
Last year, the highest imposed fine was over $3,500. The family has rectified the issues. If violations persist, we'll continue to impose penalties.
We propose cooperation between agencies, especially the electricity sector, to cut off power supplies to households that are slow or resistant to rectifying issues. This will raise landlords' awareness and prompt immediate action on fire safety measures.
Dong Da District has inspected 700 of the over 2,000 rental establishments in the area. Initially, violators are given time to make corrections. If they fail to comply by the deadline, penalties will be enforced according to regulations.
On Tuesday morning, the Cần Thơ City People's Committee held a groundbreaking ceremony where 71 houses are to be built for eligible poor households. People will no longer worry when it rains heavily or is windy. The houses are being built according to the Great Solidarity House design. To hand over on time, the leaders of Cần Thơ City requested locality to assign inspections and supervisions of the quality and the progress of the project and mobilize more local resources to support households in difficult circumstances. By the end of 2023, Cần Thơ City has reduced the number of poor households to 764. Of these, 77 poor households lack housings but have land to build houses, and 6 households have built houses from locally mobilized resources. The following story is an example of good people, good deeds. Locals in Phie province have voluntarily donated land and contributed money to build roads. They have also invested in the electricity network and planted trees. This is the spirit of solidarity and unity in a village in Phie province.
At the end of April, Bao, representing Bozil village, submitted an application to donate land and money to expand the village roads. This wasn't the first time he had done so. Previously, villagers donated land and money to construct a 250-meter-long concrete road, which cost $7,800. This time, they proposed widening the road and investing in street lighting and tree planting.
Our old road was of standard width, but it had grown a tad too narrow after some time. So villagers unanimously agreed to widen it by another meter. We donated money and a workforce, and even called for our children from afar to send us donations.
In Hòa Bình 1 Common, many households have previously applied to build roads individually. However, the district's Bầu Rượu village is unique for collectively requesting 2 village road expansions. Additional contributions, materials, and labor for road expansion amounted to $5,800.
I was surprised to receive an application initiated by Bảo and immediately took action to implement it.
My son also sent money to support road expansion. Now the road is beautiful. I am very happy.
Plans are now in motion to extend the road by another 150 meters, continuing the tradition of community-driven land donation and monetary contribution. The collective effort has given Bầu Rượu village a new appearance.
In Vietnam, it is currently the peak summer tourism season. Localities have launched many attractive programs and activities to promote tourism and provide visitors with many experiences. The Enjoy Da Nang Festival will be held from July 17 to 21st. It is poised to be a highlight of this summer with many special activities such as the Grand Music Night featuring many famous singers, the Vietnamese International Food Festivals and the Art Kite Performance, and the Scent Festival. One of the new activities is the visit to the Han River by 15 sailboats. In addition, on June 8th, the Da Nang International Fireworks Festival will officially open. And on the opening night, there will also be jet ski display by the World Top Jet Ski competitors. On opening night, the weather in Da Nang is forecast to be clear and cool, with the lowest temperatures only about 28 degrees Celsius and light winds. Coming up next in our World News, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi confident of election victory. And Mexico welcomes first female president. The final results of India general elections are expected to be announced today, June 4th. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has previously said he is confident about returning to power, and exit polls suggest that he will likely win. Modi ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP, and his allies took set to win a 2/3 majority in the 543-member lower parliament. The minimum number of seats required to win is 272. According to analysts, Prime Minister Modi's victory is expected as he still enjoys the support of most Indians. If the ruling coalition's victory is confirmed, Narendra Modi will become the second Prime Minister to win 3 consecutive terms. Mexico has its first female president after Claudia Sheinbaum won a landslide victory in June's second elections. Sheinbaum, born in 1962, is a close ally of President López Obrador and a member of the ruling National Regeneration Movement, Morena Party. As a former environmental scientist, she used to work at the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This organization received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2007. Before running for office, Claudia Sheinbaum was mayor of the Mexican capital. Outgoing President López Obrador has hailed the elections of Claudia Sheinbaum as Mexico's first female president as a historic event for the Latin American country. Leaders of many countries and organizations around the world, such as the United States, Germany, Russia, and the European Union, have sent their congratulations to the newly elected president. World oil prices fell about $3 per barrel in the June 3rd trading session, the lowest level in nearly 4 months. Brent crude oil prices fell to $78.36 per barrel, closing below $80 per barrel for the first time since February. Meanwhile, U.S. light sweet crude prices fell to $74.22 per barrel, the lowest level in nearly 4 months. On June 2nd, OPEC Plus agreed to extend its production cuts into 2025. However, it's also left open possibility for voluntary cuts from 8 members to be gradually unwound from October onward. Investors are concerned that production decisions by the organizations of the petroleum exporting country and its partners OPEC Plus could lead to more supplies later in the year while demand increases. A top issue on the agenda of the 80th International Air Transport Association Annual General Meeting and World Air Transport Summit is a commitment to achieve carbon neutrality for international flights by 2050. Flights emit more than 1 billion tons of carbon annually, accounting for 2.5 to 3% of global emissions. Aviation emissions are one of the factors leading to climate change. The global aviation industry is working hard to find solutions to reduce emissions, such as producing sustainable aviation fuel and developing environmentally friendly aircraft engines.
Last year, billionaire Richard Branson's Virgin Atlantic completed the first long-haul flight using 100% sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF. SAF can be produced from agricultural byproducts or used oil in restaurants and has a carbon footprint that is 70% lower than that of petroleum-based jet fuel. The challenge for industry players is that only 0.1% of global flights currently use this fuel due to low volumes and high production costs.
Sustainable aviation fuel has been that it requires a huge amount of investment, innovation, and players across the value chain to make it happen. What we'll do with Flight 100 is show that 100% sustainable aviation fuel can be used today in existing engines, airframes, and fuel infrastructure.
We're trying to demonstrate the best strategies for combining thermal and electric power to be as energy efficient as possible. We're not talking about zero carbon flights, but we're burning less for the same journey.
It took me 4.5 years to build this machine. I've clocked over 150 hours of flying time on it and never plugged it into a socket.
The International Council on Clean Transportation estimates that airfares will have to rise by 22% by 2050 to cover the costs of decarbonizing the aviation industry. Certainly, many consumers will become more hesitant. Therefore, governments and industries worldwide need a suitable roadmap. Despite many barriers, efforts to green the aviation sector will continue to be accelerated towards the goal of carbon neutrality by 2050 and support the global fight against climate change.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's all the news for today. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download a mobile application, VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.